So, hi everybody, this is Giulio Curiel from New Musical Instruments. Today we are here for an interview with Rok Gulič. Rok is the guy behind the OLLO idea. OLLO, you know, is a brand new manufacturer of headphones. They come from Slovenia. They are very young, talented, passionate. So today we are here to talk with Rok about their new S4R recording headphone. But prior to this, Rok, nice to meet you again. Today we are here to talk about the new headphone, but please, would you please recap the history, the idea behind OLLO?
Thank you for having me. The idea is, very straightforward. As a musician, as audio engineer, audio lover, I was trying to mix music at home when I got my first kids, twins, two little boys, and suddenly all the evenings and nighttime changed for me. I couldn't mix using speakers anymore. So when I started exploring the market for headphones, I saw a massive opportunity. There's very few companies that actually make accurate flat headphones, equally balanced. So in my background of engineering and doing things on my own, I started playing around with speakers and acoustics and stuff like that. And at some point, I had a pretty good headphones made for myself. And from then, of course, the idea is continued to develop. And I was lucky enough to be able to be a part of Primorska Technology Park, where I could get some funding for the idea. Because at the time I was basically broke. So that actually made it possible for OLLO to really start working on the manufacturing processes, on materials, and perfecting the product to a point where it could actually be launched to the marketplace. Now it's been 4 years, and in 4 years we grew to 8 people. We are now available all over the world, primarily in Europe. Italy is basically our strongest market at the moment. So thank you very much for that. We will continue to go forward. And as mentioned, Giulio, we just released the 1.1 model of the S4R. R stands for recording, so it's a closed headphone designed for recording artists, producers, or just using it maybe in office environment.
In your opinion, what does set OLLO apart from the other brand names, the big names? You are competing with very big names. So what are the differences in your product?
The product, well, it's just headphones, right? It's nothing really special about this. And we tend not to look too deeply into technology. The reason is, of course, in funding, right? If you want to develop something very complex, you need a lot of money. A number out of the blue. Last year, Sennheiser alone spent 70 million euros in R&D alone. So that's massive, right, compared to us. So we can't compete with these companies on a global scale, on technology based. What we can compete and what makes us different is the way we approach our customers, the way we service our customers, the way we source materials, the way headphones are actually hand-built, assembled, tested, proven. You get a chart for every single individual headphone. Every headphone unit is measured, and you have a data set for that. And this kind of gives us a leverage and differentiation to all the other companies. And of course, on a side note, I think it's always good to support local, smaller businesses as well, because we are actually the ones keeping the big conglomerates in check. We are the ones that are testing what they are doing. We are the ones that are questioning their integrity. We are the ones that are, the counterbalance to those big corporations. Of course, we as OLLO are not as important, but all the small companies, we are not the only one. There's a lot of small companies in audio industry. all together, we are acting as a counterbalance to keep, the research going forward, to keep the interest of the community, audio community in check, so that, the capital and people with expensive watches don't take over the world, basically.
Well, let's talk about actual models in your product line. Last year, you announced the S4X model, which is an open back design and proved to be very, very successful, very appreciated. So now the S4R this year, what are the main differences between the two headphones?
The chassis is basically the same as the S4X model. So both of these models incorporate the feedback from our users, which is maybe something that I should mention before. So we don't develop things in the lab on its own, like in a box, right? We don't think that we know better than anybody else. So we take a lot of feedback from our users, from reviewers, and we try to incorporate that into our research and development process. So all of these things come together. On one side, we have these massive ideas and changes. And on the other side, we have a brutal reality, which is a small company making things in Europe, right? So that has to somehow come together. Sometimes ideas are great, but are not not possible on a small scale, or not possible with a financial structure, right? So we can do things, but then the headphones would cost 3,000 euros. It doesn't make sense. So we have to play the balancing act between the ideas and the feedback that we get and what is actually possible and plausible to do. So based on that, both of these models have the same chassis, which incorporates all of this feedback that we've gathered in the past 3 years. And of course, we are still continuing to do that, but in reality, it is the same chassis. It's the same speaker, easily driven by smart devices. It's the same sound signature in general. The main difference is who it's for, or what is the intended using scenarios. So for the S4X model, that is a mixing engineer, that is a hi-fi lover, listening to music, enjoying a little bit more openness, a little more natural sounding headphone and headphone reproduction. While the closed back, their primary task is to isolate the sound from leaking out, because they are designed for vocalists, for example, or podcasters, multimedia studios, radio studios, and so on, where the leakage out of the headphone into the microphone is number one concern. So we tried to take that as the lead idea in developing the new model, but at the same time, we listened to the feedback, which was saying, hey, it would be nice to have a closed back that will sound very similar to the open back. So if I have to, for whatever reason, go between the two modes, I can actually do that and have as little as possible of deviation between the two playback devices. And that is the core of the S4R model that we have successfully launched.
So you believe that you can mix with the S4R as well? For instance, if you're in a noisy environment, you're traveling and you have to realize a mix on the fly, you can use the same headphone for recording and for mixing. You're telling us that in the end, I will find the same sonic signature of the S4X if I'm used to that.
Very similar, yeah. So the difference is in imaging, the separation, the landscape, the sound landscape is different because the axis is open and their curve is slightly different. If you talk about sound signature, it's still going to be OLLO. It still sounds like OLLO headphones. It's not like, okay, now I'm wearing Sennheiser, or okay, now I'm wearing Beyerdynamic, which is a very strong sound signature. Whatever you take from Beyerdynamic, you know immediately it's Beyerdynamic, right? So this is the sound signature I'm talking about. It's still OLLO. It sounds fairly similar to one another. And when it comes to mixing part, we did a test. So we sent, we call it a special 25 group, right? So we've sent 25 units to different people, from the reviewers, endorsers, customers, and our ambassadors as well, to gather the feedback on what they think about it. And for example, one of our ambassadors, Mr. Sean Tallman, who is a great engineer, he was fine with mixing on the S4R as well as on the S4X. What he did say is that it took him maybe a little longer to get used to the soundstage, which is a bit more compressed. So there is the difference, but once you know it, it's not really going to distract you much. And there is slightly less mid bass and low bass present in the closed version. So that again, if you are doing a lot of very delicate music when it comes to low mids, so that would be like cellos and stuff like that. Then maybe the S4R will definitely perform better. But in overall terms, the S4X, yeah. So the S4R will definitely, deliver a proper mix, but it shouldn't be your primary mixing tool. That is for sure.
In your website, you talk about the Sound Seal Acoustics solution that is used in the S4R. What is the Sound Seal Acoustics exactly?
Yeah, the Sound Seal Acoustic is our, a trademark. It's not registered yet, but the idea is that the way headphones are built, especially open back and closed back as well, the majority of them will have a vent between the back and the front of the speaker. So what happens is when you have your ear over here, the air can move between the front and the back of the speaker, right? It's like a sub reflex or a bass reflex in cabinets. So what we have is a slightly different design. So we have a 100% separation between the front and the back of the speaker. That's why we say this is the open back, because it is literally open back and no front leakage. So it's not like the speaker would be, for example, focals are very easy to observe. If you take Focal Clear Pro and you take a look at it, you will see right through it everywhere. So that is a completely open design. So the Sound Seal technology is where we completely separate front from the back, which means that the
acoustic load, you have an acoustic load similar to the box in pneumatic suspension. You're telling us that you can have the same principle applying to your headphones.
Yes, that is exactly correct. That's how it works. So the phase interaction is minimal from back to front.
What are the points of strength of the new S4R towards its direct competitors?
Well, one of the core values at OLLO is, sustainability, and we try to be sustainable in every way. I'm not talking just the environmental aspect of this, but sustainability actually means, having a proper environment for all the employees as well, right? So they can develop good, they can have a healthy life, they can enjoy family life as well. So everything kind of bundles together into this idea of sustainability. And we try to extend that value and idea as much as we can to our consumers, to customers, to users. So it comes down to a fact that you can upgrade these headphones. Whenever it's possible, we're going to offer upgrade or crossgrade. So for example, if you have the S4X, you can change it to S4R. So that's one of the aspects. The other is, of course, all the materials that are used. So this is very nicely sourced materials, very little plastic. And whenever we can, we source locally. So either Slovenia, Italy, Europe, and then there are some parts that we cannot get in Europe. For example, speakers. They are made in China and imported from there.
So if one owns the previous model, the S4R of the 2018, I believe,
yes,
it can be upgraded to the new model.
Yes, it will be possible. At the moment we're doing this interview, it's not yet open. we will open it eventually to all the European customers. Yeah.
Let's move to another question, which is very, very, very interesting in present times. Today we are focusing a lot on acoustic field recreations with electronic models. So there are a lot of softwares like Waves NX, for instance, or Siena by Acoustic Audio or Can Opener. How do you believe they can help your headphones?
Well, when it comes to DSP, so digital processing of signals, we are not professionals in that area. So I don't really know all the bits and parts that are happening with the signal. I can experience it just as anybody can, and I can have my own opinion, but I cannot really do a professional take on what it is, how it works, and what are the benefits and what are the side effects. I can't dive too much into that. What I can say is that the idea of emulating rooms, different sound signatures, is very much welcomed here at OLLO. So we are experimenting with that. We did have a conversation with a company from Russia, Real Phones, it's called. And we did some tests together. I'm just not sure if the technology is ready enough to really deliver better results with that. What it does do is giving special insights into particular problems in a song or in a mix or in a setting. So yeah, you can pinpoint maybe some reverb issues and stuff like that, maybe some phasing issues as well. But I don't think it is at the level where you can completely trust that it will translate to that room. But it's absolutely welcomed, and we are very much interested in it and are looking, for partners in this. As mentioned, we are hardware guys, and the software part is something that we can connect with others, but are not intrigued in doing it on our own.
If you are hardware guys, the first time we met, you told me something about a device for haptic monitoring, a device for listening to the music, to the bass frequencies via your body, via your bones. So do you still have this project going on?
This project was originally called Play to Me. The idea is that you're the only one who is hearing the bass frequencies. And it does not have like an official name for the version 2, but it is over here on my desk. I'm not going to show it right now. It's in prototype stage. So we have three units, three prototypes available with different configurations. The main issue with this tactile feedback is how to actually apply it to a body. That's one. It's more like an engineering issue and behavioral issue. Yeah, so that's the main thing. The other part is how humans actually perceive vibration and how does it translate into sound. And that's a much bigger issue because there is very few research made on this topic. It's a lot on vibration and effect of vibration on human that comes from aeronautics, from automotive industry, from all these bigger, larger industries. But they are not concerned about the sound. They are only concerned about how vibrations affect your body. With the limited resources available and research available, we are very much a pioneer in this. So we are working with other labs, some from the United States, but one very important is the SoundHub lab. So that is SoundHub in Denmark. which is held by Bang & Olufsen, Harman, and I think Jabra is also a part of them at the moment. So with experts from these companies, we're trying to find a way to effectively measure how sound is translated through vibrations into your body and how you perceive it. So basically, we are at the level of Fletcher and Bunsen back in the days in 1920s, right? They were trying to figure out how people hear things, and we got the Fletcher-Bunsen curve, the equal curves out of that. We're trying to do the same with haptic audio. And this is still the very early days. It's going to take us a while. Of course, we'll need confirmation from other labs as well, and to make this an objective truth. But yeah, for now we have a project. It's here. It's ready. It will be launched soon. The difference is that it will no longer be a pillow, but it will be a desk unit. So we are exploring how vibrations are actually present in little studios or at home, such as you have right there, right? So where is every vibration coming from? Do they actually come from the chair itself? Do they come from the air directly to your body? Right? So for example, if you say you have airborne sound waves coming to you, shaking your body, that is definitely true. But in order to get a sensation, a haptic experience, this SPL level must be very, very, very loud, very great. So you need really massive speakers. Okay, so then comes the question, is this something that a real life situation actually has? If you're trying to make a studio, if you're trying to deliver better playback devices to our studio engineers, in reality, they never listen at 120 dB SPL. They are working at 85 to 90 dB SPL. And that is not enough for the air molecules, for the air pressure to actually move your body and to feel it on your skin. It's very little, right? So this is why we are now moving into the direction of exploring where are these vibrations actually present and how we perceive them. And we found out that it comes mainly from the desk. People have speakers on the desk, and even at lower volumes, the speakers will transmit vibrations to the desk, and you actually hear or feel the vibrations from your working area, from your mouse of the computer, keyboard, and stuff like that, a lot more than from the chair or from the air itself. So this is where we're focused right now on delivering a device that is on the desktop, delivering these little vibrations that make it more immersive.
An extra kind of vibration.
Yes.
Rok, I got just a last question for you. Still speaking about future, what are your plans for the future? Are you interested in expanding your product line towards different direction, for example, Bluetooth headphones or DJ or studio live and connected, unconnected, DSP, active noise cancellation, or are you going to remain focused on a small set of studio tools?
Well, for the next few years, I'm 100% sure we will stay focused on professional audio equipment. We will stay focused on cable connectivity. Later on, maybe Bluetooth will be more welcomed in the studios, but at the moment it's still not. So everybody want to have a cable. I want to have as little DSP processing in the signal chain as possible, and we will continue to listen to feedback, and according with that, we will definitely act if we will have to, because that's the main issue. We want to deliver products that are actually used, that are actually bringing value to our users. We don't want to have all these whistles and Bluetooth and all these crazy things and technology when it doesn't really benefit the final product.
So thank you, Rok. Thank you for your time. That's all. Thank you for your answers. And thank you everybody for listening to us. If you like this interview, please consider subscribing to the New Musical Instruments channel. This is Giulio Curiel. Thank you and see you again in the future. Bye.